here with Sherree, our makeup artist guru and entrepreneur, and of course her book,
My best
selfie,
the
the V Factor. I just want to say V Factor. I remember the V.
My best
the
selfie,
V Factor.
the V Factor.
That's right. And then we have Shay, our finance guru here, and of course myself. So we are going to continue our topic on creative ways to manage your money and your finances and your credit.
And some fun ways too.
Oh, that's good fun.
Yeah, we need some fun. Let me tell you, when I think of finance, okay, there is nothing funny about it.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
I don't want to. Finance advisors and finances, and to me that's complicated. In my mind, I can't do. You can't get it complicated. It's got to be straightforward.
But what's interesting about that is Tonya. Now she has managed some finance. Don't let her fool you. She's like, everybody got a different level. But you had, you had your business with the videos, the rap groups.
Well, here's the thing:
gym.
is that position I went from janky mechanics and struggling with children as a single parent to being able to buy whatever I wanted.
Right.
So when you can walk in the store, you can get anything that you want. I will tell you that is the feeling that is unlike anything else in the world.
Wow.
And then when you go back to having to budget your money, not getting your nails done, and, it is a huge
From heaven
it was a huge adjustment, money wise.
I bet it was.
It was a huge adjustment, and it was a rapid incline and a rapid decline.
How did you keep? I can speak for myself, but how did you keep from letting depression overcome?
Especially with the kids,
For me, I've always been the kind of person to where I can adjust to any situation. Change is always hard, but depression was there. I mean, there was no way to get around it. You're gonna feel a sense of loss because at the time we're talking my whole life was built on what he and I were trying to do, and now you don't have that anymore. So it was definitely some depression, but adjustment wise, it was mental. I had to deal with the mental, and it took me a little while because it was hard to watch and see certain things, and no more going to the mall, no more with certain things that I had completely cut out and had to do without. And it was a very hard transition because I was dealing with that along with my my marriage. So when you put it all in together, and I also in dealing with my children as well, because they were affected by what went on with me.
Were you angry?
I was.
And bitter?
I was all of those things, but I had to put all that aside because now I've just got to deal with getting back on my feet, because all of that means is
energy
means,
you're wasting.
Yeah, it means nothing right now because I can just keep on being. But I spent a lot of time alone. Because I needed to recharge, and I needed to think, and I needed to process. And being a Taurus, we have to process.
They're both Taurus.
Yeah,
cool?
we have to
They're
process.
so cool.
I have to process what just happened because it was devastating, and I had to really there was an acceptance that had to come over me too, because it was almost like I was dreaming.
A nightmare.
And there were other people that were.
You wake up and did this really happen?
Yeah, and
there
there were other people that were affected. So it was a very difficult transition for me. But it taught me a lot. So I did walk away with the lessons, and I knew at that point the only way that I was able to do it was I had to shut down. I had to completely shut down. I had to turn in.
Yep.
I had to work. I had to, and
Jane.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time alone. I didn't, I just wanted to sort it all out. And I knew, but the key to what happened to me and in dealing with it was my spirituality. And I knew that I had to connect back with spirit. I had to make sure that, because that was the only way I could make it. That was the only way I could heal. That was the only, I needed spirit's guidance. I needed protection. I needed care. You need love. All humans, we all are social, and we need that. We need somebody to hug us and somebody to tell us that they love us and somebody to show that they care about us. And when you're in that position where you're just by yourself and it's so lonely, and it's but I mean, financially, it was tough. It was tough, but it helped me in coming back on my journey now, because I can manifest, because I have been there and I know what it feels like. And a lot of people are dealing with that now as far as manifesting finances and things like that. Then people will say, well, you have to feel it, but how can you feel something that you've never felt? You don't know what it's like to be walking a store and people cater to you, because they know you coming in there to spend money. So then you get there, you're getting catered to in the drop of a hat, or you're going to write that check for that car, and there is no car payment.
Bam.
Because you riding off the lot with that car. So it's just, it's...
I'll take that.
Yes. Yeah, and it's a very, so it was a transition, but I do know the feeling, and I do know that I can get back to that place, but I can get back to that place with a firmer ground.
And I'm glad you're here, because I'm hoping that will transpire to us now.
That manifestation.
And that puts you in a really unique position.
Yeah.
It does, and that's where the lesson came in at, and that's what I realized is that I went through it all, and I don't know if you all have ever experienced this, but I have went to places or visited places, and then I find myself back in that place.
Oh, yeah.
Living in that area, driving that type of car, taking that vacation there. So what happens sometimes is that we'll go through a transition of seeing that place and being in that place, and we leave, and then as we cycle through life, we come back around to that place, but we're in a better place when we get to that place.
And I was going to say earlier, when I was kind of laughing, you're probably like, why is she laughing? God gave me this.
Like you related to me.
No. On my journey, I mean, God gave me really the spirit of joy and laughter. Literally. And the reason why is because I was thinking about when you said being in the mall, being able to get everything you wanted, and you couldn't do it. It took me back to working at the mall, and I never forget it. It was the funniest thing. I couldn't get my hair done. I had to do it myself, and so I was like, let me go find some hair color. Didn't know what I was doing, box hair, all that. And I went to go and get my, color. I said, I'm going black. I had me some nice black hair. I'll have me. And I'm like, I'm going to do my thing. So I did my hair. And shout out to all y'all hairdressers out there. I know you would get a kick out of this. But of course, my hair turned purple. Because I didn't know to mix the two colors together. My hair was purple, but it was a gray purple. Like it's popular like 2 years ago now, but we're talking about 10, 12 years ago. Nobody had gray purple hair.
You've always been on the cutting edge.
But check this out. This was what was funny. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go to work. I cannot do anything about this hair. It's just going to have to be like this. But I thought I had, I had put enough like little spray or something to make it look darker so you couldn't see it. I got to work and I had wore this outfit. I wore this outfit that my sister gave me in 7th grade. Okay, I'm talking. I'm a grown woman now. This was 7th grade. I can still wear it. I can wear it. I can still wear it. And my sister, she's passed away now, but she was the one who introduced me to fashion and
shopping. Yes, she can shop.
And she was a master of buying the most beautiful like colors that were classic. I was more trendy.
Right.
But she was good at classic things that would last for a lifetime. And that's what she gave me, this outfit. Now the Knickerbockers wasn't in style. We couldn't wear them.
Yeah,
we couldn't wear the knickers.
I was back in the day.
Well, we can wear them now.
But the jacket was beautiful. It was like a velvety color, purplish lavender, whatever. So it was still cute and it fit. So I'm gonna be vintage. I will wear it to work, right?
Wear some of the baddest clothes.
I wore this to work. And this young lady, she was very young because I was older, And she said, "Oh, Miss Sherree, you look so good. You matched your hair to your jacket." She said, "You matched your hair to your jacket." I said, "What?" I didn't realize my hair was the same color as my jacket, right? And I'm looking like, I said, "Okay." And I acted like I didn't know what she was talking about, right?
Yeah.
I went into the bathroom, looked in the mirror. I'm like,
you just a purple. You was
Purple Rain.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Purple Rain.
You and Prince.
But it was so hysterical that instead of me being embarrassed and see the jacket, it was so old that literally had the stripes from the arm right here.
Yeah.
But now it's called what? Distress.
That's
People
right.
pay $200 for jeans.
Yes,
Distress jeans. So I just had the original thing.
That's right.
I mean, but I was a design major at UNCG, so that's what we do.
Yeah.
But anyway, that whole thing about, saving face, being embarrassed.
So
you have to learn when you're going through stress, and your stress might last for a season. It might last for a season. You have got to find a way to have some happiness. And sometimes you don't have the money to buy any kind of happiness. You have got to find a way to laugh at yourself.
You do.
Like she said, be creative in the situation.
You do.
And you also have to learn how to detach yourself from people that are going to increase your stress level because of how they want to look.
And you know what?
Yeah.
That is a really good takeaway. And I handled my situation so different than either one of you. I became angry and bitter and mad. I don't like to say the word mad because when I think of mad, I think of like a dog, like a mad dog. Mm-hmm. But I was so bitter. I was angry that had happened to me, that I had put all of that work and time and effort in, and that I had supposedly done everything right, and that everything had gone so wrong. I was so angry.
Yeah.
And I was hurt. I felt betrayed. And it affected my health. And it just got worse. It really did.
It was devastating for me, but I had the understanding.
I didn't. I didn't have any understanding except that I was angry.
See, I had been in that situation. I think for me, this time was probably more devastating because of our relationship and things like that. But I had breakups, and here's why I was always able to adjust, and it's because as a child, my father dated different women. My mother was not there, so sometimes they liked kids and sometimes they didn't want to be bothered, and sometimes my dad I'd be at his apartment and he'd have a girl there, and he would leave me there with her, and she'd make certain comments to me that were negative. And when he got married the second time, she would put me in the attic when he was at work because he worked second shift.
Oh,
So when in dealing with all of that as a child, as I started coming up, I was always withdrawn. So I always internalized it and dealt with it through thought. That's where I became more creative, rap, poetry, different things like that, writing. And I didn't do well in school as I got older because mentally I just dealt with so much. So over the years, when I got married the first time and, the cheating and the lies and the betrayal, and from people that I actually knew. So, with that, it's like, well, how do you handle that? Well, I didn't have time. Guess what? When everything hit the fan, he ended up doing time. That was back in the era of, it was back in the era of, different, may I say, back in the, 80s, and you know how that era was. It was more about, disco and drugs. So I didn't have time to think about how do I fix this, or how do I deal with this. It was, I gotta put it away and I just gotta go. But that's how I dealt with everything. I dealt with death of my grandparents. That's how I dealt with it. Once I went through the process of dealing with getting the call and then dealing with funeral and go on. I tucked it under the rug.
Did they die around the same time, your grandparents?
No, my grandmother passed away Christmas Eve morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so she, but after all she had been through, she went in her sleep, so I'm glad that she didn't have a long sickness and things like that. It wasn't drawn out or anything, and she deserved to go peacefully because of what she had already been through.
Amen.
So, but in dealing with it, I always just tucked it away because that's when I talk about strapping that on my back, and I just strap it on, and I gotta go. I got a child now. I gotta look after him.
When she put you in the attic, I mean, was there like furniture up there? I mean, what was it?
What I can remember, it was a house that they had rented, and I can remember looking out this window and watching the kids outside playing. And my grandmother would call, and I would be in the attic. And so she brought it to the attention of my dad. And I don't know the span of how long it went on because, I mean, I don't really remember the span, but I know that there was a point where she came and got me.
Was there things up there, like, was there toys?
I can't remember. It was like something to sit on. No, I don't remember any toys or anything like that.
That
I don't
is
remember
amazing.
anything like that. Yeah, he just, and it's, a lot of times we don't know what people go through, or what they've been through and where their mental is.
Right.
But I'll always just take it and tuck it under the rug. And so, but this time, it's been a little different because there's been triggers. So I can't tuck it under the rug.
Okay.
So there's times where I've had to really face it and really deal with what was in front of me. But in this situation was a little bit different because some things my intuition was already telling me. So I had already processed it in my mind. And so I already knew a lot of different things that may or may not have been right and how they went. But for me, feeling like I'm going to build something and, financially be in a good place finally, and to not be in that place for real, it was devastating.
How long was that process from everything being okay to everything crumbling down?
It was crumbling down the whole time.
Ooh, no.
I just didn't.
You didn't know?
No, I knew, but I just, sometimes the train moves so fast that you can't get off. And so you're on the train.
Especially if you're in survival mode.
Yeah, you're on the train. And I knew how to do that. See, I knew how to survive. I knew how to
we good at
shut
surviving.
it down and tuck it under. I knew how to cope, and I knew how to because I had all those mechanisms from a child. Now that it wasn't good, it's not good for you at all, because at the time, you're dealing with different health issues, menopause and weight gain, and and different things. You have you still have your children that are affected by your decisions.
Yeah, you still got
And
it
so it was and I wouldn't say crumbling, but I could see the cracks. I could see the cracks, but
in my old house we had a real crack.
like a real crack.
We had, and one of the before we bought a house, we actually there was a place we stayed, we rented, and there was a crack in the floor.
oh wow.
Y'all want me to tell you about that? But I don't want to.
Well, the thing is that's very symbolic to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
See,
guess
I
what?
see that as symbolism.
And guess what? One morning, I went in the kitchen, and there was something growing out the crack. And I had never been raised
In a house with stuff
with a crack in it. But you know what? And that's no shade on anybody that's went through worse. But like you said, people look at you. They have certain ideas and thoughts, and they have no idea.
Clue of what you are really going through.
Yeah.
No
They don't
clue.
know. And I'm thankful that I can be transparent, and I'm happy because it's like my father, the real Ted talk. Ted Curtis,
Yes.
the real Ted. My dad, he always had a sense of hope in his life, from childhood, because his dad died when he was like 8 years old because his dad could not go to a hospital because they didn't let black people go to hospital.
Right.
And, so my father worked hard all his life, and he did some pretty incredible things that were miracles, sort of, so that passed down to me, and I thought I was a little junior Ted. So challenges,
You really are.
so challenges for me are more like, we used to that, we're used to survival, we can do it, we can make it, this and that. But, when I had to live in a place that I didn't desire to live, but it was affordable, which I was thankful for, the affordability. You deal with things, and I had a child at the time. I had my new baby in that situation.
Yep.
And it was painful, but I was really good, like you say, at just tucking it away. And when you have a baby, when you have a new baby,
it's not about you anymore.
Well, you want it to be not perfect, but you want that new energy, that new baby, that new entity that has come to this earth. You want that new baby to be in the finest.
Yeah, you
the
want
best.
the very best for your children. Yes,
you want them to be,
especially your newborn.
Yeah, and I had a saving grace that I had was at the time my sister-in-law. She had right before that, one of the people from our church, so I went to church, a couple.
It's emotional.
A couple that was not able to have a baby. They had been praying, like the whole church had been praying for us to get pregnant because it had been 3 years and wasn't nothing happening. Didn't think nothing was gonna happen.
Right.
And so I had, got to the point where I was like, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be or whatever. But I was like, if it happens, good. And so it did happen, and I was very thankful and everything like that. But this couple had sent a check. They sent a card and they sent a check for $50.
Oh wow.
And so it was in the mail, when we got home. it wasn't so much that we needed the $50 that at that time, it was the fact that somebody had reached out
Yeah.
that
Somebody thought about you.
couldn't produce a child. And they reached out and blessed us. And I know that
out
when
of their
you
barrenness,
yeah,
they reached out.
and I know that when you are in a predicament, but you can muster it up to bless somebody else. A lot of times the doors will come open for you.
Yeah, definitely.
God will open the door. And so they blessed us with that check, which I thought was just the fact that, because I mean, you know, I'm not saying they were like highfalutin or whatever, but you know, they were just established people, very established, you know, so it was just so nice that they even looked down at us, you know, our little situation. But anyway, but then after that, they had a baby. They got pregnant.
My goodness.
They got pregnant.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And God gave them one.
Yeah. And then the other thing was my sister-in-law at the time, she sent me a single rose. You know, and that just one, you know, single rose, you know, for me, could have been like a couple dozen. Because I didn't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be there. You know, if you see my recent post, I got a silver spoon in my mouth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not saying I was born with a silver spoon, but that's my mind. You know what I'm saying? At least my wealth of my thoughts. The wealth of my thoughts is that.
Right.
So, you know, for her to send the rose just to say, hey, congratulations on your new baby,
Right.
you know, and everything like that. You don't have no people there. Because my people was all in North Carolina or different places, and my mom was elderly, so she couldn't come. So, you know, I was by myself. I mean, I had his family, but I was by myself. I mean, and you're in protective mode. You know, mama bear, you're protective, you know.
No, that's right.
So anyway, you know, but even in that, I, boom, jumped back into survival mode, got up in that kitchen, just had the baby, C-section. So, you know, I wasn't too bad off. I mean, C-section wasn't too bad because I was in shape, really good shape. And, you know, down there scrubbing that floor, you know, hey, I don't know what's going on with this crack, but I'm about to scrub this part over here.
Yeah.
We're going to fix this.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's all to say that, you know, I can look back on that, and that's a strength. That's a strength. I'm not ashamed of it. It's a strength. It's where I was at the time where I was at.
You gotta make it work where you are.
You know? And our lives are so much more valuable than the very possessions that we have. I would love to have lots of things and, you know, stuff like that. But it does not mean that I'm any less than who God has created me or us to be.
Right.
And so I just want to share that. So
and your life is not made. And the older you get, you hopefully wisdom will teach you that your life is not made up of possessions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going back to...
I still want a Bentley, though.
Come on,
You want it, but it's not. You won't fall apart if you don't get it. You do want it.
Yeah.
Well,
you
listen,
would.
Listen, go to the dealership and they got them in showroom.
I was shocked when I heard somebody's keychain cost $400 to get a new key.
Girl, please. This is serious.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's serious. But and going back to what we were talking about on our other segment and what you were just saying, dealing with priorities and in getting older and wiser and being, you know, in a position to where, you know, you have to take a look at every line, every finance line item, as we call them at work. And, you know, in doing so, it's funny because even in this discussion, I have reflected back to the way I used to handle my finances and the way that I do it now.
Now tell us about when you was balling. Now, how did you handle finances when you was balling?
Well, you didn't have to worry about them.
I didn't.
But did you say, okay, I'm only gonna spend $600 on this pocketbook?
No, he would give me, put it in my purse, and that was it.
The money or the
yeah,
But I'm saying,
I
like,
all of that.
But let me say, okay, this now when you was at like say whatever department store that you went to that was like crazy.
I didn't have a budget. He never.
So
he never would give me a budget.
So it was more like you would just purchase it depending on how you liked it.
Right.
Okay.
If
all
it
right.
fit, if it, and that's why I've said, you know, everybody is looking and coveting a lot of expensive things, but I've got shoes that I paid good money for that hurt my feet.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I got to figure out how to pad them up so that they don't tear my feet up.
Yeah.
Because the way they made them, they didn't make them for how they feel.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have a lot of male designers.
Well, and I will give this shout out to Sherree because I got the walk in the park coming up.
Yeah, listen, I have mine. I got some of those too. I had
See?
those on yesterday, and the Sorels are comfortable.
And the Sherree is going to allow us to give away 3 pair of shoes. If you come do the walk in the park on November the 17th on a Sunday morning at 10:45 to sign in. It starts at 11. And if we put your name in the pot, you have to give a donation. You can give it online to the particular foundation, and you can win one of a couple pair of Sorel's shoes. And these shoes cost like sometime between $100 and $200 some dollars a piece. So just let y'all know, November the 17th, you know, come on a walk. And it's for Arthritis Foundation because the Sorels helped me to actually walk again because my back was in my back and something was going on with my back from, you know. But anyway, come out. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, and it's not, a lot of times we look at, I mean, I just had to throw away a pair of Juicy Couture sweatpants that I paid good money for because guess what? They got a hole in them.
Oh, wow.
So it's not always what you see and what you think. Some things are. Now, when you're talking about homes and cars, things like that, those are well made.
Yeah.
Okay. When I had my Mercedes, it was a completely different automobile than having a Ford or a Chevy.
Okay.
Okay. The things that even with the glare, like when people put on their bright lights at night.
Oh,
and
gosh.
the mirrors automatically would dim so that you're not getting this light in your eyes.
Yeah.
You know, so it came with a lot of extras that really were useful. And some people may not even realize they even have it because they have money. But but those are the things that I can honestly say it is a huge difference in that. But as far as clothes and shoes, there are some quality clothes.
Yeah,
There's some
they
things
last
that
for
are
a long
quality. They last. Shoes, questionable.
Right.
Okay, always questionable because I think the best pair that I've had most comfortable is Uggs.
Okay. Yeah, and now get you some Sorels now. Tell
I
me
got
about
them.
Sorels. Yes,
I have a
you
pair.
got them.
Yeah, I have a pair of
You got
Sorels.
them. You need them wedges.
Yeah, well, I have the boot. I've got the boot with it's got the little fur on it, and they're a nice boot, and they go with everything. But it's just I'm just saying all of this,
general,
and this
exactly.
is not a bragging session. This
Yeah.
is just to tell you that all that stuff that people look at and what they want, that stuff is, man, it gets old.
Yeah.
It gets holes in it.
Yeah.
I've got some shoes that I paid good money for, and the piece on the top, because they are the wedges, but like a sneaker, and the piece around the top that supposedly, you would think it was leather, it's peeling off.
Yeah.
And you're talking about $300 for a pair of shoes.
Right.
And so it's not always about that.
Right.
It's not.
And then when you look at people that are extremely wealthy, they drive cars like that maybe somebody really doesn't even
They
want.
drive an average car, a lot of them.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
drive
So
average cars, and that's the thing is that
You don't know. You can't tell by looking at them that
they're
are
wealthy, right? Because but you may see them with a Nike shirt and the sweatpants and some shoes on, but you don't. It's not a gaudy glossy, you know,
because
look at
they
me.
learned that the key to wealth is not in those things.
Exactly. It's not. It's not in those things. And as you get older, you start to realize that. And, you know, and nowadays they've talked about us getting ready for retirement. A lot of people have mentioned that to me. And to me, I don't see retirement for me. Because where we are now, I want to be in a position to, in the next 5 years, to be making money to where I can do what I want. But I can't see myself ever just, I mean, as far as write a book, have a blog, it's different things that we could do. Your financial blog, you know what I mean? And so, but there are things, and I've got a question for you, as far as Medicare and Medicaid. I don't, a lot of times, you know, we speak certain words because we don't really know the difference. It's like probation and parole. I don't know what those two things mean. Well, they were on probation.
Well,
no.
tell her, that she's got
help,
this right here. Yeah.
Help me understand the
Well, there's a lot of stuff
difference.
I don't understand either.
I can chime in on some of it.
However, Medicare is there's a difference in me helping you to understand. Medicaid is for people who are at a certain income level or below a certain income level. That is what Medicaid is for. Medicare is for people who are at a certain age level or who have been on disability for a certain period of time, and then they roll to Medicare, okay? Or if they've been on disability for a certain period of time and their disability amount is below a certain level, they will roll to Medicaid and they will roll to Medicare. And if their Medicaid, their income level is at such a low level, they can get Medicare, and their Medicaid will pay for a portion of their Medicare.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So just think, Medicare is for, when I took my Medicare class, I was told that Medicare is for the elderly, Medicaid is for the disadvantaged.
Well, and that makes sense because Medicare.
You care for the old, you give aid for the disadvantaged.
Right, okay, all right. So that makes sense because...
And sometimes if you have Medicaid, there may be programs established to help supplement what Medicaid is not going to be able to do.
That's right.
And that is a big thing. When I worked at the hospital system in Virginia, that was huge for people that could not have insurance for their children.
Right.
And some of them didn't even have Medicaid. Like, it depended on the situation. I had a young lady, she was only about 20 years old. She had cancer, which was rare. She had breast cancer. And her mom's insurance wouldn't be able to cover her. So she didn't even have, I think she had Medicaid, but it wouldn't cover her cancer situation. So with her, the hospital put her on a placebo or either a study. So she didn't know if she had a placebo medicine, and Shay's from the pharmaceutical world,
which is no medicine.
Right.
Placebo is nothing.
No medicine, or she didn't know if she was on a medicine.
Actually getting the drug.
Right. And so when I went to see her, because I had to go check on her for my job to see how she was doing and stuff like that, she made her own wigs. She was very creative, little young girl. Wow. This was before people started making wigs. She made her own little wig, and she was the happiest, sweetest young lady I ever met. And that's what at the time when they had the little fake dogs, they were like puppies, and like they were sleeping, or they were breathing or something. Yes. And that was her little baby. She loved that little dog. But when I went to see her, she says, well, I'm on a program, I'm on a study. She says, so I don't know if I'm on medication. Woo! You talking about breaking your heart. because she's only 21 or 20. She doesn't know if she's going to die because of having cancer or because she doesn't have medication that's going to cover her situation. So she, remained positive, and eventually she passed away. And I did go to her funeral, and they said she was phenomenal because you would never meet anyone that had that much life in them. And being in a situation where she lived in Virginia, when you drove through the neighborhood, it looked like a nice neighborhood. It was great, 2-story houses. But the neighborhood within a year had changed. Someone went in there. When I was spending time with her, I said, how's your brother doing? Because he was younger than her. She said, well, you see that house over there? I said, yeah. She said, you see those holes in the bottom of the house? I said, well, no, because we were, across the street. She says, well, I was sitting over there about 8 or 9 months ago on the porch, and my brother, he had his friends and everything like that. She said, but all of a sudden, a bullet whizzed through my hair. Now, the wig that she had made, on the placebo or on the drug or not, and then you got a bullet whizzing through your hair. Someone had came into that area and created, what they did is they tried to get the young people to turn on their friends. They offered one of the friends or one of the people in the group $50,000 and gave them guns or whatever because they wanted to create a war in the community that there was not even a problem. So 2 people had died. 2 people had died in her community. So she's not only dealing with her life and living or not living and not having insurance, but then now all of a sudden the whole community has changed to what they were trying to create to be gang related. So this whole thing on finances, it goes so deep because some people start off with not even a chance.
Yep.
Not even a chance. So sometimes, and I guess I'll say this to say, is because sometimes even the smallest things you can do for somebody, do it. It may not be like it's going to save their life.
That's right.
But just do it. But Shay, tell us about this, what you were with the Medicare.
Oh,
Medicaid and everything.
Yeah. If you're going to be on Medicare, and this is a really good time for this because it's time. If you're going to be on Medicare for the first time, you should have already received your Medicare red, white, and blue card. And if you didn't pay attention to it, it would be an 8 by 11.5 sheet of paper.
Now, what age do you get that?
You would normally receive it, like I said, Medicare is for dependent upon age. So you would normally receive it if you were going to be 65 next year.
Okay.
Or you would receive it if you were currently on disability, based upon the state. Now, this is going to your state law. North Carolina says if you've been on disability for 2 years, then that 3rd year of your disability, you would roll to Medicare. So you would have, if this is your 2nd year of disability, you would receive your Medicare booklet and your Medicare card and information to help you choose your Medicare plan. So you would receive your little card, and it's paper. So don't expect to get an actual card. So don't throw that away. If it says Medicare, please don't throw it away. Because it's not a plastic card, it's a paper card. And it's red, white, and blue, has your name on it, and it has the month, date, and year, which is 2020, that you're supposed to start Medicare, okay? So there's a book in there, and then there's a lot of information, and by now, you should have already received your large book with tons of information about Medicare A, which is hospitalization, B, which is medical insurance, C, which is Medicare Advantage, and D, which is prescription
Oh my God.
Medicare
what do you
D, which
think
is prescription coverage.
You know, like insurance is just
Medicare.
baffling to me. Like any type of insurance, it's so much information.
It is.
Well, you know, you just
And the
need
book,
an
she said
advocate.
but she said the big book, and then
It's a
she
large
started.
book.
See,
Well, the thing is this: you can call the helpline. You
Right.
can call
Here's the
Medicare
thing.
helpline.
You can call Medicare, call the
Yeah.
Medicare
They will explain.
number in your state,
Mhm.
or there is a website. For North Carolina, I have that website for you. It is www.ncship.com. And it is the health insurance counseling program. And you will speak to someone that will set up an appointment for you. And this is a free service given to everyone in North Carolina. And the great thing I like about this is that if you call any of these numbers, that you're going to be inundated between now and the end of the year. Call about Medicaid. You're going to see tons of Medicaid commercials, and you're going to get tons of Medicaid phone calls. Most of the time when you answer or you make a phone call, you're going to speak to a licensed insurance agent who is going to give you
You mean Medicare or Medicaid?
Medicare. Did I say Medicaid?
Yeah, so
No,
Medicare.
Medicare.
Uh-huh.
You're going to speak to someone who's going to give you information about a Medicare program, and they're an agent. So they're selling you an insurance program that they are making money from.
Mm-hmm.
If you call the ship.com, or if you log into the NC SHIP or the SHIP website in your state, and make an appointment, you will deal with a counselor who is not an insurance agent. And the information that they give you is 100% free, and it's the same information that you're getting, but it is not tied to a licensed insurance agent. So they're giving you the best prices without them being increased by the insurance agent. So they're giving you the best price, period.
And also, don't they have your basic Medicare from the government?
Yes.
And then you can also choose
Whether
to
you
do a
want
different Medicare program.
Absolutely.
So you have
and
a choice.
it's very confusing because
Yeah.
you can do Medigap, you can choose not to have B, you can choose Medicare C, which is a Medicare Advantage, which is Medicare A, Medicare B, and has Medicare D.
And you can also, isn't it probably because when I worked in insurance, you could also sometimes go to a seminar for, like, say, Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield,
Right.
or some United Health.
Right, but you have to be careful with that because there are licensed agents there.
Well, I'm saying, but you can go and listen,
Right,
and
you
then you
certainly
have to
can
make
go and
make a decision on your own.
Right.
But
the best way I found is to go to a place where the state that you're in gives you free information,
Yeah.
because they have nothing to gain by
Right.
giving you information. They have nothing at all to gain. And they will ask you to bring, they will set you up an appointment, and they'll ask you to bring the list of all of your medications, or if you want to bring all of your medications in a bag, I would suggest you just take all of your medications in a big plastic baggie and the list of all of your doctors. And they will enter all of your medications and all of your doctors and see what comes up that is at the best cost and the best plan for you.
and we may have mentioned it, but Shay was the #1 pharmaceutical sales rep in, was it United States?
Yes.
the #1 pharmaceutical sales rep in the United States was that for your company?
Yes, for my company, I was #1 in the nation, #3 in the nation, and then #5 in the nation.
Okay, can we say what company that was? Or not?
It was for, oh gosh, I worked for so many different, was it not Pfizer? I think it was when I worked for, I can't even remember.
Okay, because she's retired now. Okay, so she's retired. But anyway, so
I worked for a lot of companies.
So the reason why I mentioned that is because she is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to medication and insurance and all of these things are businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I worked in healthcare for like 10, 12 years, and I worked in insurance, doing people's insurance and all this kind of stuff. And the biggest thing is you cannot give up. You have to stay on the phone and find the right information and keep bulldogging until you get things paid for or, what so have you. But her being in the pharmaceutical sales area and having an understanding of the insurance world coincide because especially as we age or if you have somebody with a disability, a child or anything, this is so crucial in how your whole life pans out and to know about programs that will help supplement insurances.
Right.
Because there's some programs at some hospitals that literally, if you cannot pay, not often, but sometimes hospitals have special programs that everybody doesn't know about that they will pay.
They do.
Right.
They do.
So
I went to the emergency room. I've been, and they do have a set price for people that don't have insurance.
Right.
Now, two things. Okay, I just read an article this morning. I can't remember what news online it was, but they're saying that some of the hospitals are starting to sue people now for their money. And here's the other thing, and I don't know if people in North Carolina are even aware of this, but the North Carolina tax, who we pay our North Carolina taxes to, they are taking your refund and paying your medical bills.
Wow.
So what's happening,
Which
going
goes
to
back
your
to your credit.
Because now
Which
they're
directly
opening up
influences
a
your
new,
credit.
they're
Wow.
opening up a new can of worms, because if you got something that's been sitting on your credit, which you let it go, but
Right.
once you pay it,
It activates
it activates it again.
Wow.
Right. Now you're
Wow.
sitting here with this bill who has another 7 years to sit there.
That's right.
Now, and what they also do is that they're not going to tell you who they paid.
Absolutely.
See, that's what I'm
They
talking
won't
about.
even
You
tell
have
you.
to
You
get all
got to
those-
call.
Yeah, you got to bulldog.
You got to call.
Yeah.
They're going to give you a number. Now you've just opened up a whole new can of worms.
Yeah.
Because with bill collectors, once they buy that debt, that's their debt.
That's right.
Okay.
And-
But now that they've paid on it and you call,
It's activated.
now it's activated again. So now you've got to pay. They're looking for you to pay on that debt.
And I'm gonna tell you on that note, be very careful. Years ago, I had got a loan from I won't say what company, but trying to pay it off one of those cash in places or something sort of like that.
I know what you're talking about.
And literally, I had to be in a loop. They put you in a loop, so you cannot get to the next person you need to talk to, and they're hoping that you're going to stay in that loop. You have got to be a pit bull. I mean, it's got to be like a job. You got to be on there like a job until you get it done where you can pay that thing off. And make sure that they send you a confirmation letter saying that yes, I paid them off, or if they can send something through your email where you can screenshot it, because you want to have your portfolio showing that yes, I did pay that. So if you do need to go back to your credit report, you have proof that yes, I paid this. And I never forget laying in my bed one time years ago, trying to figure out how in the world do people that maybe don't have the foresight or the when you just stay determined that you're going to make sure that these people get this letter and get you out of this loop, this pay
The
loop.
gumption.
You know, these big, gigantic, high interest rates that you're caught up forever.
And it's their job to keep you in that.
Yeah.
They're paid a premium to keep you in that. So it's their job to stonewall you.
Yeah. So I know it's time for us to wrap up. Can't believe it's been a whole nother hour. I mean, it's amazing.
Yep.
So, ladies, what do y'all want to say? And thank you, Shay, for all of your sharing.
Knowledge.
You can see this is our passion.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to check my resume because I've worked for so many different pharmaceutical companies. And as soon as I find out the ones where I was number 1 and number 3 and number 5, I'm going to come back and tell you.
And there's a reason why she can't think of it right now. There's a reason. But she truly was. And people can tell you that about her, too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because when I met her years ago, in the same building, when I had my first little business, the woman was literally on fleek on all points. She was so professional. She worked at the bank. She was young. She had a big rock of engagement on her finger. She was giving the words of life.
I can even tell you, the rock was not worth it, honey. Don't be taken in by the rocks.
But she was a woman of excellence, and she's still a woman of excellence. And so I just give her that shout out because she literally changed my life because of the words coming out of her mouth. I will always say that, and I'm thankful. Just let me get emotional, but so thankful we reconnected because back then I was thinking that she was just amazing. I'm just like, this woman needs to be on TV. So
But she's on there now.
Yes, high five. And then we have our good Tonya, our good friend Tonya, who is precious, just amazing. I mean, she's
I appreciate that.
Powerful, strong, crazy story, amazing, phenomenal. So
It's crazy.
I mean, and then we're funny, you know, we can rap and all this stuff. So thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Make sure you leave comments below. Hey, we even do Cash App if you guys want to support the show, so we can do more things with it, you know, and we can do things we have things we want to establish as a group. We would love to have you to help out. That's great.
Click like and subscribe down below, please. Yes, and we thank you so much for even taking the time to listen to us, and we hope that you have a wonderful November, a wonderful holiday, and we will talk to you soon.
I Feel You Now TV.
Bye.
Checking out.
Y'all did awesome.
That's it. Yes.
Another one in the box.
And I always look back here.